We are live Monday night, August 24, 2009. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Cause, and David Hero here with you from the 540 ESPN studios in downtown Milwaukee. Thank you very much for joining us. Coming off the heels of WWE Summerslam 2009 last night, WWE Raw going off the air in just a few minutes. We have a lot to talk about this week on the show.
Now, did you mention David Hero or David Octavius Hero?
I believe I called him by his name, which is David Hero.
Octavius.
Is that like Montel Vontavious?
Could be.
You didn't spend 10 years in Sing Sing, did you?
Oh, that's why you're out, because you sang.
Thought I saw you on an episode of Lock Up and on MSNBC.
I seen you on, what is that, Jail. That was a good show.
You can join the conversation tonight in several ways. By the phones at 276-ESPN here in southeastern Wisconsin. Again, that's 276-ESPN, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. Again, 1-800-990-ESPN. We're also going to be tweeting all night long on the PWR Show Twitter account and the website, pwrshow.com, where the chatmosphere is live. And so many comments on pwrshow.com and our YouTube channel regarding WWE SummerSlam from last night. But before we get to SummerSlam, let's talk about the Raw that has been and is finishing tonight as Randy Orton, who's looking more and more like me every week, walking out on the big match, and there he is,
You walk
John
out
Cena.
on big matches?
No.
You're a referee, so you stay in the match until the very end.
He's got a shaved head. We've been
look
talking.
more like Daniels, especially with your TNA catering T-shirt on.
August 3rd, we had Ken Anderson on this particular show. He had a lot to say about two of the men being prominently featured on Raw right now, Randy Orton and John Cena. Randy Orton has actually made a response to that interview with Ken Anderson. We're going to have details of that response coming up here this evening on the program.
He was hot about it, too.
Hey,
no doubt about it.
He was hot?
Well, there were two responses. There was the one we couldn't talk about and the one that he has now made official.
What's official? Randy Orton's hot, and he's saying it.
Raw tonight, boys. Floyd Money Mayweather is in charge, of the second hour.
He made the appearance.
He did. Vince McMahon is now a part of DX.
Why?
On his 64th birthday.
And we got a 25-minute
song about it.
Birthday
here it goes.
Celebration for Vince McMahon to kick off the program tonight. Not like Triple H's birthday celebration, which was after the show off air. Maybe that's what this should have been tonight. Gentlemen, your thoughts on WWE Raw so far?
Well, I'll jump it out. Unless you know what exactly was going on, it was 25 minutes of a birthday celebration.
Kind of like the Mick Foley Rock?
Yeah, but
you
people
bet your
were
life.
entertained by that.
It's also the highest-rated segment in Raw history.
It went...
in wrestling history. No, Saturday Night's Main Event beat it.
From what I understood, they were waiting for Floyd Mayweather to get there.
For those of you that don't know, Floyd Money Mayweather may have been Floyd Bullet Mayweather earlier or last night in Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps. There was some type of shooting. Floyd somehow or another tied to it. His house was searched today by police, and certainly other things going on in his life that may have caused him to either be delayed or not appear at Raw. Obviously, he did appear. Don't know if it was late because of it. It sort of fit because he came out during the Jericho tag match, and he's got that history with Big Show.
You know, or maybe the whole thing was just drawn up to get you to tune in to see what's going to happen.
It was long.
You are a conspiracy theorist, aren't you?
All I know is it was 25 minutes that we'll never get back.
Oh, you were entertained. You loved it.
No, I wasn't. What was I doing during that 25 minutes? You were there. Nelson was there.
That was a private conversation between you and somebody else.
No, that was me eating my Asian zing. Or no, wait, I had honey barbecue.
It's all about the zing.
Zing? How is Vince McMahon all of a sudden a part of DX?
Because he's 64. It's his birthday present.
It's a one-night-only thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But doesn't that just spat in the face of DX then? What is DX supposed to be, anti-establishment? Isn't Vince the establishment? Isn't he
Vince
the
is
man?
now the father-in-law.
And you just saw it. You just saw the end where you see Vince McMahon, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena in the ring, all raising hands, ending
on the
show.
one mountain.
You know what?
They're on the one mountain.
4 stars all raised their hand, and somebody got released.
It was actually 5, by the way.
Oh, that's right, 5.
Well, Raw was certainly not as eventful as the WWE's latest pay-per-view offering last night. The biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, from Los Angeles, California. And I will say this, WWE put on an excellent pay-per-view event last night. Around just about every corner of SummerSlam, there was goodness to be found. I know we all had a chance to watch it. Let's talk about it match by match. Remember, you can join us with your comments on SummerSlam, the number 276-ESPN, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. The Chatmosphere is also going live. And I guess we'll start with what the fans said about the best pay-per-view this month, in August, between WWE Summerslam and TNA Hard Justice. Obviously, only having the opportunity to vote starting at the end of SummerSlam last night. But 84% of the voters, 84%, pulled a Ronald Reagan on TNA Hard Justice and won. SummerSlam did.
But
a Ronald Reagan?
But you're missing something.
Probably beat Carter in 80.
Yeah, but remember the demographic we're talking.
How many people bought the TNA pay-per-view to judge it? Not saying it was better.
Well, in theory, this particular poll of the people who voted, it is assumed that they watched both shows. Assumed.
Okay.
It's not scientific.
All right.
We didn't get Gallup to help with this poll.
He's hot.
I'm not hot.
No, I'm not saying you.
84%.
The bald guy.
84% of the people thought SummerSlam was better. Only 16% voting for Hard Justice. Now, Hard Justice wasn't a bad pay-per-view, but SummerSlam was certainly leagues ahead of it. We're going to go match by match, but before we do that, let's go over the highlights of it, which saw a new World Heavyweight Champion crowned, that in CM Punk, who defeated Jeff Hardy in what was probably Jeff Hardy's last match on the...
Well,
wait,
the phone lines are full. It's okay.
There's still one more Jeff Hardy match left. One more.
Unconfirmed, because we haven't seen him in the ring yet.
It's been announced.
It's been announced.
Okay. But we haven't seen him in a ring yet, but okay.
But you will see
because we understand what happens
versus CM Punk this Thursday Friday on SmackDown.
But we understand what happens when we make accusations about individuals that we haven't proven anything yet, right?
Yeah, kind of like mentioning Christian was coming back and
no. That's not what I'm talking about.
The Undertaker returns at the end of the night and gets thrust right into a program back for the World Championship against CM Punk. Big news there. Both Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker returning after that matchup at WrestleMania on the SummerSlam pay-per-view. WWE played with our minds, and I think they did so very well in that match between John Cena and Randy Orton. So much shenanigans. It almost reminded me of Over the Edge 1998 here in Milwaukee's Mecca Arena, where Pat Patterson kept reminding us of the rules that didn't exist in that matchup. Well, this one was all over the place, and it eventually saw Randy Orton retain the WWE Championship over John Cena, which was not what a lot of fans probably expected. And then the epic return. I say epic because it was epic in its execution. The epic return of D-Generation X. I am not sure if an entrance has been done so well since Triple H's entrance at WrestleMania 22.
Triple H's entrance at WrestleMania 22. Were we talking about the Conan the Destroyer?
Yeah, it was vintage.
Oh, Michael.
The King of Kings thing?
Yeah. I marked out for that, and John Cena with the gangster entrance.
I did too.
I'm sorry, gangster or gangsta?
Gangsta.
Did you know that CM Punk was in that gangsta entrance?
Yes, he was one of the guys around the side of the car.
As well as the Love Machine.
Yes, he was. Prominently
That's
featured.
hot news.
It is. It's a Jeopardy question. Pretty
By
sure.
the way, the Love Machine is
Legacy.
Matt's longtime Love Machine.
Legacy gets elevated at SummerSlam as well in that matchup. While they did not win it, they certainly became much more prominent figures in WWE as a result of that match with D-Generation X last night at WWE SummerSlam. But let's hear from the peeps out in the peepulation, the humanoids, if you will. Let's go to line one, JD from Pittsburgh. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hi, how's it going tonight?
Hey, JD, first-time caller?
Yeah, first-time caller.
Welcome to the
guys
show.
Once in a while, and I've been trying to get you guys for at least a month now. It seems like every time I try calling you guys after Raw on Mondays, you guys always have the Brewers game, or I miss you guys by a day or two. But
well, even though the Pirates sweep the Brewers, it's tough having a team that people actually care about. I'm sorry. Was that a shot?
No,
sorry.
that's okay. As long as we have the Steelers in the Super Bowl, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, great game. Anyways, JD.
Just as long as your quarterback stays out of Vegas.
Yeah, true. Well, let's talk about Vegas tonight in Raw and SummerSlam.
Beautiful segue.
First off, SummerSlam last night, I didn't think it was a bad pay-per-view. I watched the show. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I did like the Ray Ziggler match to start out the show. It was a little bit better than the match they had at Night of Champions, although they cut back on the time a little bit. The DX stuff was pretty good, like you said. I mean, I think Legacy did get elevated quite a bit last night and getting help from Hunter and Sean and basically putting in a 15, 20-minute match, and I thought that was pretty impressive. And the TLC match by far was just amazing. I mean, it was probably one of the best TLC matches I can recall. Just the spots alone, Jeff's 30-foot drop was just incredible and everything.
Not new, though. JD.
Not new. No.
I mean, I got to challenge you. Everybody's talking about how great that TLC match was. Is it because they just don't remember the last few we've seen or the greatest ones that have happened in the past? Mm-hmm. This one was a dud, in my opinion. It wasn't a bad match, but comparatively speaking, I don't think it was as great as everybody says. Now, keep in mind, before I start getting labeled, great pay-per-view, great match, but not certainly, I don't think in the top 3 TLC matches.
No, I agree. Damien, I agree 100%. It wasn't in the top.
But Damien, why would Jeff Hardy give everything he has if he's already with 2 feet out the door?
Well, Jeff Hardy's that kind of performer.
He is that kind of performer, so he was in that match.
He's going to show up. He's going to deliver.
But he's not going to kill himself for it.
Anyway, as far as, like I said, I mean, all in all, I give it a thumbs in the middle. I mean, the crowd was pretty good for the most part in L.A. last night. The only thing that was really disappointing, they only showed, like, maybe 2 big-name celebrities the entire night, and that was Freddie Prinze Jr., who you thought was going to show up or maybe get involved in the Cena-Orton matchup, obviously. And, of course, it turned out to be DiBiase's brother, as we all found out. And, again, he showed up tonight, basically.
No, that was a fan, JD.
That was a fan? No, it was DiBiase.
No, it was a fan.
What he's doing is being facetious.
Yes.
No, we had a lot of our commenters on our YouTube channel say, that basically I was dumb and stupid for saying that was a work, not an actual fan. Well, there are certain things that happen when a fan gets in the ring, if you've ever seen it happen for real. Everyone pounces on them. Performers, referee, security, everybody.
Not only that, the camera moves off of
them. Yeah, that didn't happen. They showed the guy getting carted out. I mean, honestly, that was a work. And yes, you're right, it was Ted DiBiase's 21-year-old brother.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought originally, everyone around me who I was talking at the pay-per-view last night said it was Nick Hogan, and I'm like, sure, right. But no, getting into Raw tonight, for the most part, it wasn't bad. I mean, I was really surprised they got away with out commercial, at least in the first 30 minutes of the show. It was pretty good for the most part. The best match, I think, tonight by far, and if you guys watched the show, was probably MVP and Jericho in that tag match. I mean, that was pretty good.
The only thing that's distracting in that match is, my God, that man wears an entire red suit.
No, the thing that was disturbing about that match is that you had to use the brass knucks again, basically, and win that way. That was kind of cheesy and lame. But
did it strike you as troubling that you had a man whose house got searched by cops today and a man who spent 10 years in jail using brass knuckles in a match?
And meanwhile, a guy who was about, 55 minutes late getting in the show tonight? Seriously, I mean, unless he was in the back basically the whole night and they were waiting until about that time, around the end of the first hour to bring him out. I mean, seriously, it took forever for them to come out tonight. And they didn't even say anything surprisingly before the main event tonight who the next week's host is. And I've heard rumors, scuttlebutt, say that possibly it could be LeBron James. Maybe. I don't know. Scuttlebutt. I don't know if that's true, but again, I've been hearing a lot of names in the weeks to come that they're trying to bring in. Bob Barker, Al Sharpton, Ashley Simpson.
Please no Al
Sharpton wouldn't.
Jimmy Fallon's another.
He'd be better than Joe Jackson.
Yeah, a lot of people said possibly also Danny DeVito, Rachel Ray.
Danny DeVito would be okay. I mean, you get some of his little cronies to go with him, and then the pimp, it's always sunny.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon would show up. Who else have I heard of? Regis and Kelly.
I'd like to see Drew Carey. He's already been an entrant in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
JD picked match of the night from SummerSlam and the worst match of the night.
Worst match of the night, it's a no-brainer, guys. Come on, let's be real. Regal and Christian, 7 seconds?
I think there's another match in competition for that.
Yeah, and they were both 7 feet tall.
And Khali was the second worst match. The best match, it was a toss-up between DX and the TLC match. I'm going to go a little bit more TLC because of the way the thing ended, but I'm not really keen on Punk and Taker going into a program this quickly because I thought you'd figure, let's have John Morrison get elevated the way he was and has been.
They got to make you forget about Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
And that's how they did it.
Yeah.
And they did it rather effectively.
And then we're going to see more of it, obviously, this Friday in Phoenix. But all told, I'd say tonight, Raw was a little bit of a thumbs in the middle. The DX stuff was good at the beginning. And I don't know if you guys thought it was funny also, especially late in the show, when Carlito came up to Mayweather and started talking to him and telling him he's a bad guest host. And then all of a sudden, I guess Hunter made a wisecrack about Stephanie, and Hunter just popped Carlito. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but if you didn't, funny stuff.
Well, just when I was thinking, why is Carlito standing there? And then McMahon nailed him.
Yeah, which was great.
Explained it all. JD from Pittsburgh, thank you very much for that call. We've got Matt from Denver on the line, Rob from Syracuse as well. We're going to take those calls when we get back. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN for Monday, August 24th, 2009. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Cause, and Dave Hero here talking about WWE Summerslam from last night, the biggest party of the summer. And our phone lines are full, but you can join them as we take these next few callers. The number, Frank, is 276-ESPN.
Ouch.
Or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. We're also blowing up in the chatmosphere at PWRshow.com. And where else are we?
We're in
Twitter.
the forum.
We're tweeting.
We're tweeting.
We're
keeping our mic on. Yeah, we're keeping our mic on.
It's a multimedia circus, but let's go out to the Mile High City. Matt from Denver, Colorado. You are live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Welcome, Matt. You sound like a new caller as well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just a few things I noticed about SummerSlam last night. Number one, did you notice that Lillian Garcia made a vocal botch?
Yes, during the announcing of what Vince was going to say.
Well, not just the whole, I've just been informed. Right after she first said that, she said the new champion is Randy Orton, even though he was going into the match as champion.
Sure. Well, I mean, again.
That's why she's leaving.
She's on her way out, and she's, she got paid.
People make mistakes.
She got paid.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I found that comical. What I also found very comical was that during that match, like, kids and their cougar moms were going, let's go Cena, and only guys were like, let's go Orton. It was just comical to me.
Well, you know what, dude? I'm in the Cougars.
So the Cougars were chanting for Cena?
It was a mixed crowd for sure. I think leaning more behind Cena than Orton, but, I'm telling you, folks, I got in on this on the ground floor. Randy Orton is one of the best in the business at what he does.
Say your line. Say your line.
A prick.
There you go.
Heel. He is a prick heel. And keep in mind, folks, for those of you that don't know, Matt, I'll use some of your time to make a plug. Randy Orton has a response that he has posted online to the Ken Anderson interview that we did on this very program a couple of weeks ago. And wait till you hear
first Ken Anderson
some of the things he had to say.
It was a really awesome interview, by the way.
Thank you.
I loved every second of it.
We got other stuff cooking. That's all I can say about that. Matt, overall, best match of the night from WWE SummerSlam.
I would personally have to say my best match would have to be, because I am an Undertaker mark, so TLC, for the simple fact that what it's going to lead into for Breaking Point.
All right.
Because my reasoning for that is...
Well, but the Undertaker wasn't in the match, so you thought the best match of the night was the TLC match? The TLC match because of the Undertaker appearance at the end of the match. That I can respect that. I think that's 2 for TLC.
Yeah, 2. They got 2 right now.
Let's see what Rob from Syracuse, New York, needs to say. Rob, you are live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Welcome,
Great.
Rob.
Yeah, I just have to say one thing. Thanks, guys, for the Facebook comments. It's great to hear responses from people, actually.
Okay, and are you a fan of Frank Cosentino's?
Absolutely.
Okay, make sure you're a fan on the Frank Cosentino Facebook page.
What's your question tonight?
Okay, question is, tonight we were in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Why did I not see The Godfather?
He's busy working his hose. I thought he'd come out during the showgirl thing. That's
what I was thinking, too. And I was so, the
maybe
cake
it's a
and
money
everything.
thing.
What was the last time he was on the air?
He's been on the air recently, just as a guest spot. I mean,
but was he introduced as the Godfather?
Didn't he come out and take away Viscera the last time I saw him?
Possibly.
But I think the last time we saw him was on the 15th anniversary show.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Okay.
But remember, they're a PG show right now.
Right.
Right. That's probably why they
Well, then they
didn't
shouldn't be
have
saying
Young
suck
out
it
of
twice.
Well, Shawn Michaels wasn't.
No, he said it last
They
They
didn't
twice last
Shawn
night.
Michaels laid on his back last night and had an imaginary tank blowing off loads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course you see it that way. Me and my Christian self didn't see it that way at all.
You're a Christian fan?
Yeah, he's a good worker.
Everyone's a peep.
We were talking about religion there, but okay.
Rob, good point about The Godfather not being in Vegas. Remember, it had been long rumored, and we actually reported on this program that The Godfather would be the guest host for this evening.
For Vegas.
Maybe he could have taken the first hour if Floyd Money wouldn't have been there.
That is the wrong Godfather.
What?
Wow.
Dragon failed.
Our producer just failed.
We worked out this whole gimmick. And what are you? Is this the theme song from Days of Our Lives?
No, it's from the Godfather movie.
Actual Godfather.
Yeah.
I thought I was at home. Why for everybody?
Anyways, Rob, I'm going to throw to the Chatosphere here real quick. Also,
Wow.
Big Dick Johnson isn't PG either, but he was in there.
I thought it was going to be Mae Young, honestly.
Match
She
of the
can't
night,
move
Rob.
anymore.
After that incident last time, she can't go back to Vegas. Rob, match of the night, SummerSlam.
Matches of SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Honestly, the Intercontinental Championship match, because I want to see Dolph Ziggler go as far as he can. He's got the look.
Yeah.
He's annoying, and I want to see him go
That's good,
for that
though.
title.
Here's the thing,
good
Rob.
annoying.
Here's the thing, Rob, I'd like to say about Dolph Ziggler, who I am now a mark for. He's got a little bit of some of the best performers in wrestling history in one package. He's got the look of a Sid Justice, if you will. He's got the look of
Kurt Russell.
He's got the look of a Kurt Hennig, as you will. He's got the athleticism of a Shawn Michaels, a Shelton Benjamin, a Mr. Perfect as well. He's got the wrestling skill.
He's got some Jericho cockiness, too.
Yes, he does.
And he's got the wrestling skill of Bret Hart, Kurt Angle. Now, of course, here we go. I'm not saying he's as good as those people, but he's got a little bit. If you were to build the perfect wrestler, let's say it's SmackDown versus Raw 2010, and you have the opportunity to build a wrestler, Dolph Ziggler would have a lot of the qualities I think a lot of people would build, specifically this guy.
Did you get paid for that plug, by the way?
For Dolph?
No, for the SmackDown v Raw 2010.
No, I'm just good. When Frank's here, we're good at marketing. He's the marketing director, you know.
He is the future Triple H, in my opinion. He's got
Dolph
the pedigree
Ziggler?
for it.
Why,
Yeah.
he's going to marry Stephanie's goddaughter?
Yeah.
He's about a year out, but he's got
too
the package.
small.
You think he's a little small?
Shawn Michaels is too small.
He's about the same size as Michaels.
There's no such thing
but-
as too small. Look at Ray Ray.
Okay, but
I mean,
yeah,
he's right now he's under
Hey,
the table.
Fox News, if you could, please, because that's exactly opposite what you just did to me last week when we were talking about champions on primetime.
Fox News.
He recycles all the stuff I drop.
He called you Sean Hannity?
Making
And
a lot
he's
of money.
the only,
Wow.
Ziggler is the only Spirit Squad member to actually go anywhere, it seems.
Yeah, because they tried.
They got to change Ziggler's name if he's going to draw more money, though. I can't imagine seeing the name Dolph Ziggler headlining a WrestleMania.
in big lights. You're right.
It's better than, what was his name, Nicky?
Mickey!
Yeah, but
He can pull a Nitro Morrison.
He needs.
he's going to have to.
Yeah.
I kind of agree, Dave. I think he needs, like, you know, off the top of my head, like the Annihilator or something. You know,
The notes
something
I
that
took-
goes with that.
The notes I took about that match, Rob, Ziggler is extremely aggressive and impressive early on. Excellent match underlined, great opener, Mysterio being tremendous as usual, and the fans seemed to rally behind Dolph Ziggler. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but there was a lot of Let's Go Ziggler chants, which I don't know if anybody would have expected, and I'm not sure if it would have been a hatred for Ray, but more of an appreciation of the Dolph Ziggler that has been built over the last few months on WWE programming.
Do you know why that match was so good? Because over the last couple of months, you've been seeing Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler at house shows.
Mm-hmm. So they worked on it.
They worked all the bugs out. That's what they used
I'm
to
happy
do.
about that, yeah.
That's what house shows are for, aren't they?
That's why John Cena versus Randy Orton was so good. They've worked each other so many times.
Well, actually, that was the first time last night that we've ever seen one-on-one John Cena versus Randy Orton,
Right.
ever.
Same with CM Punk and Jeff Hardy. All those guys have been working each other continuously, with the exception of Kane and Khali.
They've been working each other, but there's just no skill there.
Rob, you say Ziggler-Ray was the best match of the night. What was the worst match of the night in your opinion?
It's got to be Khali Kane.
Yeah, that it just from the start.
Khali needs to. His gimmick was working with the Kiss Cam. It was making me laugh every now and then. He's got to come back as the unstoppable giant, because they're just going to bury him like they buried Mark Henry for years. They buried Big Show for a little
But
while.
understand that Khali is what JR has said he is. He's an attraction. He's a big Indian guy. He's over in India, and the kids love him. You know, the great Khali, one of our interns, is a big Khali fan.
Senior intern.
I want to see him as a tag team partner with Sanjay Dutt, who's supposedly, quote unquote, supposedly coming into WWE.
Sanjay Dutt certainly missed in TNA and in wrestling in general. Don't know what his future plans are. We've heard those rumors as well. Don't know if they're true. Don't have any insight on that, but that would be an interesting pairing. Rob, thank you very much for that insight from Syracuse, New York. And we are going to continue on the phone lines here. Remember, you can join us, folks. The number 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-ESPN, or 276-ESPN here in southeastern Wisconsin. Meathead, what do we have going on in the chat mode?
You would ask
here?
right when I was away from it, but that's okay. I can get right back to it.
You got but one thing to do here each week, and that's monitor the chat.
I just happened to be away from it.
What were you doing? What was more important?
I was checking out other things, financially speaking. Thank you. Here's a question. It's from Joey D. Being Canadian, a lot of our viewers are Canadian and listeners on the show. They're just wondering. A lot of them. So we're huge in Canada.
Canada's our third biggest market.
Do you think Stu Hart will ever be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Oh, hands down.
I thought you'd keep it on topic.
No. I just picked the one that actually matters.
WrestleMania is going to be in Canada.
Okay.
I mean, they won't do it when they're in Phoenix.
Right.
Well, I hope it's not as insulting as the Canadian Stampede in your house from 1996, I think it was, when Bret Hart was a heel and they went up and basically had the biggest celebration that they had to date for a wrestler because they were in Canada, and then came back the next night and they were heels again. I don't think the fans will buy that this time around.
No. Not in 2009.
But I can't see them making it, they usually, about a week or so before the previous WrestleMania, you kind of get the vibe on where the next one may be.
It depends. They're working on WrestleMania 2012 already.
You know what? We need King Kong Bundy in the Hall of Fame before Stu Hart.
But Ted DiBiase needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, Stu Hart, it would be posthumous.
I could see them going back to Toronto.
Let's go back to southeastern Wisconsin. Steve from Heartland, Wisconsin on line 1. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve.
Where have you been, Steve?
Around.
Arguing with cows?
I missed it last week because I got thrown off by the Brewer game. And
that's
stuff,
okay.
So.
You were arguing with the cows, man. Those cows can be, kind of venomous.
They are pretty
venomous
nasty.
Cows?
Yes.
Have
you been there?
If you taunt them enough.
Thank you.
I thought SummerSlam, I'm going to go a little different direction here. I thought it was a relatively good wrestling program, but I would have probably switched every match except for the 2 title matches in the other direction. They're trying to build all these stars, and yet doesn't seem like they're doing a fairly good job of it. I know they wanted Mysterio to win and start the night off hot, but I don't know if it was just my TV, but I didn't really hear the crowd too much. Do you guys hear it okay?
Well, I mean, if you had Time Warner Cable, because here we are broadcasting from the Time Warner Cable studios in beautiful downtown Milwaukee, you may have heard it a little bit better. You're going to have to work on that, Steve.
Yeah, I thought, as I said earlier, I thought it was very clear to hear at the end of the match, or going towards the end of the match, the "Let's Go Ziggler" chant. That was very surprising for me because it's rare that you hear the fans turn against Ray. And again, they weren't booing Ray; they were
in California.
supporting Ziggler. He's 120 miles away from his hometown. They made that point.
Tijuana?
Oh.
I would throw a little Rick Rude in there too with Ziggler, by the way. I thought it was a good pay-per-view, definitely better than Hard Justice.
It's definitely better than Failure Road. It was definitely better than Failure Street.
Yeah. Is that from Victory Road? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you even got to bring that up? That was a month ago.
Hey, I understand you're hot because they take care of you with T-shirts and catering, but let it go.
But otherwise, I'd say I'm going to mark out for Regal, even though that he lost in 8 seconds. At least he was on a pay-per-view. I haven't seen that in probably a couple of years.
Good point, Steve. But also, to that point about that match, which was not a match, they progressed the storyline. And Regal joining up with Ezekiel Jackson and Vladimir Kozlov, it gives you a little bit of intrigue going forward.
Yeah, and then that's what I was thinking, too, after I had a little time to think about it, because they just started the program, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, but here's the thing. How many times can you just crap on the ECW championship? Here's how they do it.
It happens a lot.
Here's the 2 ways they did it at SummerSlam. I don't know if you noticed, but there were no in-ring introductions for that championship matchup. Small thing, but big detail, because they've done it for all the championship matches for several months now, and they did it for the other 2 championship matches. And then to have a 10, 8, whatever second match it was, not sponsored by the Ultimate Warrior or the Honky Tonk Man, is just an insult to the championship. It happened at WrestleMania, what was it, 24 as well?
Wait. So maybe they're still going to punish Christian?
You know, I was watching.
Punishing him. He has the belt.
I was watching his promo when he came over to TNA, did Christian Cage, and while he never mentioned WWE by name, he did a nice little burial there. So I'm sure there are people who still remember that, and I'm certain that
he's
only going to get so far because of it.
You can put the belt on him all you want.
The ECW belt.
He's not doing anything with it.
No.
So they need to give it to Regal and move Christian out of there.
Well, Regal's good at selling gum.
Company.
No, Regal is perfect because now he's the mouthpiece for those.
No, Regal is good at selling gum. That's what he's good at doing. Obviously, Dave hasn't seen the commercial.
No, Regal's in a gum commercial?
Yeah.
I didn't see that either. I got to YouTube that, I guess.
Steve, thank you very much for those comments about WWE SummerSlam 2009. Dave Hero, just so you know, Tijuana is only about 15 minutes from San Diego.
It's near the 619.
Hey, that's right.
And there is no donkey show.
He was born in Tijuana.
San Diego.
If you were to watch the Rey Mysterio DVD...
Why would I?
Well...
I don't watch kids' films.
If you're
a
liar, journalist, historian, you would know that.
Boring. We're going to take a time out.
And
we're going to figure it out. We'll take a break.
Hey, that's how Damien, by the way, that's how Damien gets away from arguments that he loses. Time for a timeout.
You should go to a radio broadcasting school to learn where to do things.
And where did you go to yours?
I went to Milwaukee Area Technical College.
Yeah, hey, let's go to break. Come on, it's getting hot here.
Well, when we come back, more on WWE Summerslam 2009. We've got Glenn from Orlando, Jesse from Houston, and you could be a caller, too. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
This is the Miller High Life Delivery Guy, and you listen to Good Honest Sports Talk on 540 ESPN.
Good job, Dragon.
It only took him 3 songs.
Now, quiet. Let's listen to this. We're going to be Zigmar. You know what, though? It's funny, and that's the reason we played this version with ring announcer Dustin Roberts. He sounds like the video game.
Yeah.
You know how the announcer always sounds like he's not there? He sounds like the video. Anyways, this is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live Monday night, August 24th, 2009. The man they call Meathead, the Cause, Dave Hero, and Damian Nelson here.
Dragon in the chat
540 ESPN studios.
The username Hitman says, "Boo, Dragon, you suck."
Oh, come on.
But he spelled it wrong.
You suck. There's also a user in there, by the way, today. Frank is sexy. Don't know if that's a guy that's been watching the show that digs you.
It's another Frank.
Phone lines may be full, but you can get in as we roll through these next couple of callers. The number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. We're talking about WWE SummerSlam, which was just last night on pay-per-view.
Speaking of phone lines, your cell phone ringing, TNA office pops up on your caller ID. What is that about?
It's about the fact that, did you get the care package we sent?
No.
And we did.
Yeah. We are currently in discussions. We're currently in discussions of talking to probably the most important person in the company. Hopefully that interview will be locked down.
Shark Boy.
Hopefully that interview will be locked down in the next few hours, and we'll be able to announce it at PWRshow.com. No, what exactly are you asking me?
I'm just asking.
But anyway,
my bell wasn't close.
WWE SummerSlam just last night on pay-per-view. You know what? Who cares what we think about it? These callers have a lot to say, and our next caller is Glenn from Orlando, Florida. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report, hopefully from the OVT.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Glenn, what's poppin'?
How you been?
Good. I'm fine, thanks. Hey, can we talk for a second, Glenn? I've got some personal. I'm just kidding, Glenn. What do you think about wrestling?
Well, I have a very interesting question.
Okay.
That has been in my mind since I've seen
17.5.
Now, do you think, let me finish before you guys say anything, do you think WWE limits the wrestler's potential in the ring? Look at what TNA's done with WWE guys like Jeff Hardy, Christian, Kurt Angle, Bashir, and others like, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely they do. But they're marketing a product and a superstar as a package, not the wrestling ability of that superstar. The wrestling ability is simply one piece of the overall package that WWE needs, and to a degree, TNA should be doing the same thing, which is why WWE is much more successful at marketing people than TNA is. WWE and wrestling talent, which is why this Bryan Danielson thing is very interesting. For those of you that don't know, ROH has announced that Danielson has signed an agreement or a tentative agreement with WWE. We'll talk more about that later. But look at the Evan Bournes, who was Matt Sydal. Look at the CM Punks, who both came from ROH as well. Great wrestling ability, great wrestling talent, which you see sometimes. Now, Evan Bourne, I don't think he's been as great a wrestler as a great high flyer since he's coming to WWE. But, yeah, they certainly do limit their the ability of some of their stars. But the stars got to be down with that as well.
Now, why do you think that? Do you think it's the road trip? Do you think it's a hard schedule that they live?
Well, I think it just answered it. They got to market a package, a person. If Randy Orton were just put out there as a wrestler who didn't talk and didn't look like a slithering snake, a viper, if you will, he wouldn't be as popular. If Dolph Ziggler hadn't been repackaged, if he was still Nicky from the Spirit Squad, wouldn't be as popular. Well, if Rey Mysterio didn't have the mask and didn't have the tattoos and didn't have the backstory, he wouldn't be as popular. They market packages.
If DX didn't have 2 words, they wouldn't be as popular either.
Right. So that's what I think the difference is. That's what I think. Why sometimes talent is squelched in WWE. But you look at people like Shelton Benjamin, who I don't think holds back any of his talent. Kofi Kingston is an amazingly talented individual. I think you got a lot of people who do perform that role.
Was Kofi on TV tonight? Was he on Raw?
No.
I don't think so.
He wasn't on SummerSlam either.
Well, he was, but not wrestling. He was on a commercial or one of those vignettes. Not a vignette, but where they were out in the fans or something like that, and he was there.
Thank you for that call, Glenn from Orlando, Florida. Meathead, what we got in the chatmosphere, I think there's some speculation on who that potential interview might be.
There's a few of them, and I think I found the answer. Damian Nelson has the possibility interview, and it could show up either this week on our TV or next week on the radio. Damian Nelson interviewing 2010's next big thing, Rob Terry.
Really? Not the guy that's in charge of
No, it's not.
What? That's what the peeps are saying.
Dolph Ziggler's perfection, and I am a victim. Frank, why do you sit here and let this happen? They're spreading lies about me.
Well, that's why I'm letting you, take that information.
Bitch. It is not Rob Terry. I did just join the Rob Terry fan group on this thing they call Facebook because someone invited me. I thought it'd be funny. Let's continue on the phone lines. We've got Jesse.
You're a fan of Rob Terry, but not Frank Cosentino?
Jesse from Houston, Texas. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
How y'all doing, man?
Hey, Jesse. We're doing all right.
First of all, I just got one question. Whatever happened to the Big Show and Kofi Kingston for the U.S. title? Did they stop that, or they just left it hanging?
They realized nobody cared.
That's very clear.
I'm more interested in Kofi Miz.
Well, I was just wondering what happened. I have to say that the best SummerSlam match for me was Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler because it really had me amped up.
Yep.
I thought that Dolph Ziggler got a little bit technical in there, and, there was a lot more reversals and a lot more action in there. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of the matches were a whole lot of action in it. I was actually, since WrestleMania, this was the second pay-per-view that I was really, really into. I'm glad I went to WrestleMania 25. I was into it.
Uh-huh.
I guess it took me a while back. I was like, man, they took it like WrestleMania. I thought that this was WrestleMania for me right now because it's like.
Well, remember, they're trying to position SummerSlam as the second biggest show. I mean, they did a SummerSlam Fan Access. They're trying to position it as a big show that you're supposed to care about, an event.
Well, there's only 4 big shows. It's
that Royal Rumble, yeah,
WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
No, since there's no more Cooter.
No more what?
King of the Ring. KOTR?
I know what the KOTR is, but do you know what Cooter is?
Worst match of the night, in your opinion, Jesse?
I don't know, man. I got to say Kane and Great Khali because I think Kane is a great wrestler. I think he could have done better, especially the fact that I didn't like the fact that through the whole promo he was running away from the Great Khali. I didn't like that, man. I'm one of the big Kane fans, and all my life I've never seen Kane run away, even from his own brother.
Let's not forget, and turn your radio down, let's not forget that Khali is a bit limited. And that might be an understatement. But that elbow drop that Khali made on Kane, I felt that. That was like a Yokozuna leg drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It was. Kane is like the company guy. Just kind of shows up, does his thing, lunch pail, and then leaves.
Yeah, and he's put away his money. He's not spending it foolishly. He's taken care of.
Yep.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We are inviting you to join us on the phone lines, the number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. We are live Monday night, August 24th, 2009, talking about WWE Summerslam.
Wait, did you say we're live?
We are live.
I've heard that we'll do it live. Doing it live.
Starting next week, we've got an authorization from Bill O'Reilly to do it live. We'll be
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Streaming live video on pwrshow.com here during the 540 ESPN radio show, and quite frankly, I'm a little scared of that.
Don't be scared.
I'm afeard of it.
Yeah, I can't imagine Meathead being live.
Oh, I am all the way live.
You got to get the dump button ready for him.
Have you been on the program here before? We do this show live here on the air.
There'll be no
Dragon.
7 seconds.
Dragon, are we on a delay when Meathead talks?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had to dump me? In how many years I've been at this station, have I ever been dumped?
I'm not sure you want him to answer that because you'll have to add it to the amount. Dragon, speak when spoken to. No,
he was spoken.
No, we had by someone who's relevant. We had a planned response for that comment.
You were suspended a few weeks ago
for 98 minutes. Let's go to Anthony from Helmar. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey there, guys. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Anthony?
I'm probably one of the few people who's going to call you said I did not see SummerSlam, which
That's what we're waiting for.
That's all right.
About the ECW title match, it's like kind of deja vu because last year they did the same thing with Mark Henry and Matt Hardy.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the year before they did it with CM Punk and Big Vis.
No, actually it wasn't. It was CM Punk versus John Morrison.
No, I'm talking about when we were at No Mercy in Chicago, Damian Nelson, CM Punk and Big Vis rolled all over him.
He got Vis rolled?
Yeah.
Viscera has rolls.
Viscera was the guy that was caught hiding stuff inside his rolls.
At Ponderosa.
About Raw, there's two things they couldn't have done. One, they couldn't have done the Raw roulette since they were in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I did kind of find amusing was when DX was trying to do a plug-in somewhat for the WCW DVD. I guess something was happening backstage, and they just had the improv for like a minute or two.
I think that was planned. More reason or more way for them to crap on WCW.
I'm still going to buy the DVD.
You know what? David Hero and I were talking during pre-show, and
while we were sticking Asian thing in our mouth. Yeah.
What did you say?
While we were sticking Asian Zing in our mouth.
If Best Buy, maybe, do you think Walmart will have that?
Oh, yeah.
Asian Zing?
Pick it up at midnight tonight. Do you think there are lines forming outside of FYEs to pick up the
I know Meathead
Rise
has
and
his girl
Fall
over there waiting to get the first copy.
Rise and Fall of WCW? Are you going to acknowledge the fall?
You gave her the checkbook to get that, right?
Are you going to acknowledge the fall? Anthony,
are you going to buy the WCW
Rise and Fall?
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to go at midnight. Who the hell?
Well, here's the thing, though. Remember, though, and this is a very important note about that DVD, because WCW is a defunct wrestling organization that went out of business in 2001 and was purchased by WWE.
I think every time you should do that, you should give Meathead a nickel.
Yeah, I think so, too.
We only have one nickel jar around here, and that's for AJ.
AJ and I could both hold our own nickel bags.
Well, Anthony from Elmar, thank you very much for that call here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Again, you can join us, folks, at number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. The next match, Jack Swagger versus MVP, which nobody has really mentioned tonight. Jack Swagger continues to impress, but this match really did take a little bit out of the audience in Los Angeles at the Staples Center following up that great Ziggler-Mysterio encounter.
I think the reason, you have to excuse me, I think the reason why is the fact that they didn't really...
swine flu again kicking up?
Yeah, piggy flu in full effect.
Right.
I think the reason why is they didn't really have anything to go for. I mean, they weren't fighting for anything except for one hated another. You know, there was one guy against another guy. What were they going for? What was...
Young star dominance.
Yeah, well, that's going to headline a pay-per-view. You know what?
Those two guys will headline a pay-per-view.
But today, in 2009...
It's kind of like Rock and Austin early on. You know,
when they were going for the IC, maybe?
Yep. Swagger and MVP are the next two big stars.
I can see it. I'm just telling you today, in 2009, it's not headlining pay-per-views. Unless there's something there to fight for.
Should have been some type of
being a title or a gimmick or something. Thank you, Frank. Title, gimmick, or something. who cares?
On a headliner pay-per-view, I think each match should have some type of significance.
Significance, that's the word I was missing.
Well, but let's not forget the pre-match for this one, the promo. MVP said that he made mistakes, he spent 10 years in jail, blah, 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 blah. He gave some reasoning for the match in the pre-tape that they did when Josh Matthews, I think, had just gotten back from Goodwill. I don't know what the hell he was wearing, but it was, and I'm a fashion guru.
Yes, you are.
I got trained by the Dr. Style Slick.
To be a pimp?
He wasn't a pimp. Why do you say why would he be a pimp?
No.
Is it because of his
heritage? No, because I'm a pimp. Because I'm a pimp.
I thought they gave the match somewhat of a reason. Here's the problem, though, with that match and the time that it got. Your ECW championship match was shorter than MVP's introduction. That's a problem for me.
Mm-hmm. There was a couple matches that were shorter than DX's entrance.
They could have made this some type of...
I'd pay just to see that entrance.
I did like it.
Next matchup was the tag team title match, which, again, not many people have mentioned, Jericho versus Crime Time. And this was another match where JTG showed his wrestling ability.
Yeah.
Very underrated. Could be one of the most underrated performers in the business right now. JTG, one half of Crime Time. Crime Time not successful, but a great ending sequence to end that match with JTG powering out of the walls of Jericho, and then the knockout punch from the Big Show and the pin Fred Jericho. 1, 2, 3. They retain the unified tag team titles.
Do you think it's safe to compare Crime Time to LAX
right now?
JTG, obviously.
Homicide. Shad. Hernandez.
Yeah, I could.
It's okay.
I could compare.
No, they don't have the intensity that LAX had.
LAX is really embedded into the fans. I mean, the fans really buy into
the
LAX.
Latino heat thing going, you know.
Yeah.
LAX was just, from the moment they walked out, they were dominant. And you knew that Hernandez was going to take whatever chance he could, and Homicide was going to take whatever chance he could, and Hernandez was just going to nearly kill you.
Yeah, and again, I hate to keep bringing this up over and over,
but
again, I hate to keep bringing this up. They've mentioned on the YouTube page that the fat guy and Meathead seem to not get along, and that's okay. I understand. If you're hot, just say you're hot, but the Jericho and Big Show remix theme redone so much better.
Still to come tonight, we're going to talk about the rest of SummerSlam. We've got CJ from Virginia, Bowman from Boston on the phone lines. You can join the phone lines at number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. The Champisphere is still going. We're going to talk about Bryan Danielson's signing with WWE, Randy Orton's response to our interview with Ken Anderson just a couple of weeks ago right here on this program. We've got the VI3 This Week in History and so much more.
And hot news on that interview coming up, huh?
Well,
maybe Johnson, right?
If we can if we can confirm something by the end of the show, then yes. I don't want to overhype and not deliver.
No, I get it. But if you're not signed up to the Twitter account, they better get signed up.
Indeed, that's.
Indeed.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Hour 2 coming up next.
For professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, Monday, August 24, 2009. Thank you for joining us all over the world, wherever you may be. And here's, more importantly, on 540 ESPN Radio in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Kaz, and Dave Hero. Kaz, you're going to keep with us here for hour 2?
What?
It was the Godfather music earlier, right? Is that what we have to do, is play something Italian, and you'll stick around for the whole show?
I will now, because I got people outside.
You know, the population out there has been missing you. They've been missing you.
There's a username in here by Frank is Sexy. That's how much.
I think he's talking about himself.
Let's go over, we've been on the air for 11 years on TV and just over a year here on 540 ESPN.
Yeah.
Ever since we've gone on air, you've been very popular with the ladies.
Most of them are from the School of the Blind, but they still love you.
Now's a good time for the Godfather theme music.
Yeah, but our producer.
Real Godfather. We are talking about WWE Summerslam 2009, and we've gotten about halfway through, and we're going to talk about the rest of the matches. I've got I've got multimedia overload right now.
We just left off the ECW match for those that were paying attention to the program.
No, next was Kane versus Khali.
I said we left off the ECW match, and that's where we finished.
Punjabi Playboy.
So pay attention to the product. Let's go.
CJ from Virginia on line 2. You're next here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, CJ.
Yeah, before I get started, I would like to tell Damien that was a very great joke you made about Virginia last week. That was awesome.
I don't even know what I said.
Refresh. We need a refresh.
Denial Blue Virginia.
Oh! We're the only one in the studio that caught that was Frank, of course, who then
awesome.
sat on it because he's that good for a few minutes and then said something.
No, but that was awesome, though. But
it is blue.
Yeah. But
now.
I think that I know more than ever. But I think that the match of the night for SummerSlam, in my opinion, was the DX and Legacy match because, in my opinion, before the match even started, I thought that DX would actually bury Legacy to the ground. Seriously, that was just my opinion.
That was a safe assumption going in, a very safe assumption going in. But I am so impressed and so happy, and that might be what tipped this pay-per-view over the edge was, how great that match was. And let's not forget, folks, that was a tag team match in WWE. We on this very program, me specifically, have said how the WWE tag team division is a joke. Certainly not the case at SummerSlam. Legacy they may as well have won that match. They were not buried as other teams were by Team DX. This was a great match and a great showing for Legacy in that match.
What's funny, Damien, too, is that as you say that, last night there was 2 tag team matches in WWE, one for the titles and one that was a semi-main event as well. Jericho in a recent interview said that the Raw talent is in a crisis mode because they're not developing and building new stars. Shawn Michaels was said to, remark, since I've been gone, who's been built? And there's been no one. So,
CJ, worst match of the night in your opinion?
Worst match of the night has to be obviously the ECW match, that the one that JR left off, and I completely agree. But I think it still did its job by continuing the storyline. So it is what it is.
Do you think they're trying to do like a World Elite? Did I beat you by half a second?
No. Is that the worst match or the most disappointing match?
Ooh, great question.
Good question. Not great.
Wow, yeah, because it really wasn't a match.
Disappointing.
Yeah, because it really wasn't a match in the first place.
But did you expect anything out of it?
Not really. I mean, it really didn't matter.
But wait a minute. Here's the thing. Did it not surprise you? Who can tell me, of the 4 of us in this room and the thousands listening all over the world, who would say that they expected that match to be a...
Actually, that was where I went to go empty my pen 15.
Just such a quick match?
See, for me, I said that would be match of the night.
Yeah, you did.
Going into
Failed.
it.
Yeah,
failed.
I failed again.
Again.
I have one more question for you. I know that y'all are about to talk about the Randy Orton response, and the only thing I have to say is that I used to have a lot of great respect for Orton, but in my opinion, after I heard that
don't spoil it.
I really think that he is part of the good old boy network. That's what I have to say about that. So
okay. Well, thank you.
Take it easy, and thank you for taking my call.
CJ, thank you very much for that call from out east.
I got
in the blue state.
It's brought up the Legacy match from last night, and they brought him up. They're on the same level as DX. Elevated. Okay.
You think they're the same level as DX though?
No, they're in a DX apartment in the sky.
Yeah, but my point is that was for one evening. They wrestle again tonight, but it really wasn't a tag match. Was
right. They're in the main.
But now, isn't it important for them to get some gold or keep that going? Because everyone's It's like, Legacy, yes, they're here. But now for the next 3 to 4 weeks, if they don't have a match together, people are going to forget.
They need to go over.
They're going to forget about
teams.
I think they need to get a singles title. I think the U.S. belts are on one of those 2 guys would be interesting.
And that would actually
just to transition
Frank's
them.
Point. Yeah.
Then transition it out. Because if you're not going to give them any kind of tag team thing going on here before the next pay-per-view,
right. Certain guys don't need belts.
Yeah, to Frank's point, that's a great idea.
But they have to do something either together or transition it where it finally breaks up.
Yeah, Frank, that's actually a great point. What you're saying there. If you put the U.S. belt, which right now, can any of you mention who it is? I mean, I know who it is, and you probably know too. But
Kofi Kingston.
I wasn't talking to him. can the average fan tell you who the U.S. champion is? When was the last time it was defended?
Last week on Raw?
Maybe. I don't know. Was it?
It's lost its significance, which I think was an email we cover tomorrow in Q&A at pwrshow.com, our daily express video update. Another Q&A episode tomorrow, but I believe that was addressed. The IC title and the United States title, both, they're almost as important as the TV title was back in the days when it existed.
But the TV title during its run really had some importance when it was in WCW on the 1 hour program.
When Rugged Ronnie Garvin was the TV champ.
Hands of stone.
Yep.
My point is, they brought it up at least 3 or 4 times how great that match was with Legacy and elevating themselves. If they're smart, they keep it going, or they got to do something with them. Hey,
well, they wouldn't have. I don't believe they would have been allowed to have such a good showing in the match last night if there weren't long-term big plans for those two or one of those two.
And also, what is it? Triple H and HBK. They could have buried those guys easily.
Well, easily.
They could have
but
cut
they pulled them
off,
along with.
Anything. Yeah.
They pulled them along with.
So as much as we don't like to give them credit, Triple H and Shawn Michaels did a great job of
so
elevating those two.
Are DiBiase and Orton now DiBiase and Rhodes now the chosen ones to be on that side of the mountain?
No, they're not the chosen ones. It's just that they know it's good business.
Because I don't ever see Triple H and Shawn Michaels on a daily basis doing what's good for business. I see them mostly doing what's good for Triple H.
If they don't
and Shawn
develop
Michaels.
other stars, who are they going to work?
But they've done it more often than
each other,
get credit
that's
for.
what they do.
Remember the Triple H Shelton Benjamin series for the couple of weeks it went where Shelton Benjamin beat him? Well, but still, that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah, and then it went right after that.
Well, no, that was Shelton Benjamin doing that.
Yeah.
That wasn't
You're
Triple
right.
H, cutting him off.
You're right.
A lot of good suggestions for the theme song coming back from break. We've got some doozies coming up here. Speaking of doozies, let's go to...
I got a doozy of a toozy, so can we get the break soon?
Let's go out to the East Coast before we take that time out. And Bowman from Boston, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, Bowman?
I got the Virginia reference, too. I used to live in Virginia for a few years.
We're sorry.
Got that reference, too.
Mickey James is from Virginia.
Yeah, I know, Richmond. I thought SummerSlam was a good pay-per-view. It was I felt it was the first time that in a long time that everybody on the card worked their position on the card and didn't try to go above or below where they actually were.
There was a place for everyone, and they stayed in it, you're saying?
Yeah, they stayed in their position. I feel like a lot of times WWE's pushing guys based on the spot they're in versus the position that they're supposed to be in. Like if you're a mid-carder, that's what you do, and you excel as best you can at the mid-card level, if that's where your talent is. But I feel like a lot of the times they get pushed based on their spot, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But I feel like SummerSlam was the first time that everybody on the card worked together to make one great card. I can't even pick out one great match out of the whole thing because I felt like the overall card was that great.
Mm-hmm. And this wasn't a case, I don't think, Bowman, and you can agree or disagree, this wasn't a case of WWE crapping for 2.5 hours and then in the last 25 minutes doing something great enough to send us home happy and then forget about the rest of the pay-per-view, which they could have done with The Undertaker returning because I don't think anyone expected that. It may have come out in some spoilers earlier in the day by speculation, but this was, from top to bottom, in my opinion, a solid pay-per-view, well worth the money, as Vince McMahon says. And it's rare.
I personally think it was better than WrestleMania this year.
WrestleMania was weak this year.
I personally think this was a lot better than WrestleMania. I think this is the type of card and build up and hype and just overall show they should have had.
Well, hey, Bowman, WrestleMania had an extra hour, and that extra hour was full of stuff that you didn't care about, or I didn't care about, and I think that's what really pulled down, WrestleMania versus the other pay-per-views.
Well, watch the wrap-up I did of WrestleMania from Houston, Texas, and you'll see I said in that. I looked at my watch at one point during the show and said, man, we still got this much show to go. That's not a good sign. And SummerSlam didn't have that flow. I was watching it about an hour behind due to some other obligations, and I thought I'd catch up because normally you fast-forward through some stuff. Yeah. No, did not. I actually ended up hitting the replay button and rewinding several times to watch things over again. I think I watched the DX entrance 3 times.
Great entrance.
Yeah, definitely. maybe some of the key things to point out are maybe on the card. I think Jack Swagger and MVP had a great match, but the problem was is that it wasn't marketed right, because all you have to do is the label on a match like that is what you used to do. Just call it a grudge match. They just have to put the label grudge match, and then people will kind of understand.
Kind of like Frank has mentioned, and kind of like we mentioned a little earlier on. What was the significance of having that match?
And exactly, and the ECW title match just was, what it was.
It is what it
and
is.
They continue the storyline on it, and I think it will do well, because I think Christian's a great performer, and I think, despite what anybody else, you guys are saying, I really do think next year he'll be in one of those other two big title spots. I really seriously do.
Who's Swagger?
No, not Jack Swagger.
Swagger? I hadn't got a chance to say it yet.
I really do think Christian will be in one of those big
spots.
I
do too. I think they're really, and this is where I kind of argue with the new guy, David Octavius Hero. This is where I argue with them, where they say they're burying, Christian. I do think that Christian's going to have to put in his time before he actually gets put back.
No, they're not. Everybody would sit there and say, well, the first thing I would do is put Christian on SmackDown and pair him with Edge.
Yep.
Why would I want to lose my money on doing that? If I want to make money putting Edge and
Christian doesn't have enough heat right now to go with
First of all, I wouldn't even have tagged them up ever again. If I want to put Edge and Christian in a setup, let's say for next year, if everybody's healthy and everything's absolutely perfect. I actually mentioned this in the chat last night. The first thing I would do, I would have Edge somehow make some random comeback and some random way weasel his way into a title match at WrestleMania or something like that, and he wins the title.
You don't think fans would have paid for a Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian match again?
Well, they'll pay for that, but when
I'll pay for that on WWE On Demand and watch it 500 other times they did it.
Well, no,
I'm not going to pay for that anymore. But to me, the way they can build it, let's say Edge wins at WrestleMania somehow.
Did you buy the pay-per-view last night?
Huh?
Did you buy the pay-per-view last night?
I was actually at a friend's house and we all watched it together.
Okay,
so yeah, we did buy it.
Most of the matches that you saw last night, you've already seen 200 or 300 times already.
No, last night was the first time we've seen Orton Cena
one-on-one. According to Michael Phil Cole, yeah.
5 vintages last night. I counted them. Bowman from Boston, thank you very much for that call. Insightful discussion as usual.
Thanks, Bowman.
When we come back, we've got Neil from Kansas City, Gianni from Waukesha, and you can be on, too, the number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Still, though, we have to talk about Bryan Danielson joining WWE. We've got our VI3 today in history and so much more. And we still got to talk about a couple of matches from WWE SummerSlam. Where does the time go? Well, it goes by fast when you're having fun. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Come get on the train.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. 80 minutes later.
Damien, it may be an hour later. Yeah, 80 minutes later. But I think Dragon found the music we asked for at the 10 o'clock hour. Top of the program.
And this is not the music we were going to come back with. But, Dragon, you do your own thing in there. That's perfectly fine. You're in charge. You're the.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Damien? We were talking about redheads earlier, and I think he's flustered. That's what it is. Obviously, that was off air. Go, Dave. Go.
Stuff you can't hear, people.
But the stuff you'll see live starting next week.
We're going to do it
bringing
live!
a dang-on video camera in here and showing the world this stuff. I won't be wearing this shirt next week.
Yeah. I asked Damien, by the way, I said, does that mean I'm not allowed to come in shorts? He goes, who cares? Just do what you got to do. I'm like, but I didn't shave.
It's like a behind-the-scenes kind of thing. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, PWRshow.com as well. We're live Monday night, August 24th, 2009. Damian Nelson, the man they call me Dad, Dave Hero, and the Cause here in the studios in downtown Milwaukee. WWE SummerSlam is the topic of discussion, and so many callers. You can be one of those callers. The number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. And before we get to our next series of calls, the next match to talk about is John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. This one, as I said earlier, played mind games with all of us and did so very, very well. Randy Orton wins this match, loses this match, wins this match, loses this match, wins this match, all in very, very different ways. Firstly, trying to get himself disqualified by shoving the referee. Lillian announces eventually that Vince McMahon restarted the match and that if Orton got disqualified, he would lose the title over the Edge in 1998. And then Orton gets counted out. He walks out with the belt.
Just a reminder.
He walks out with the belt. We got to find some of those clips, actually, of Pat
We're working
Patterson
on
doing
them.
those announcements.
Working on them.
And then he walks out with the belt. Vince says that if Orton gets counted out, he loses the title, and the match restarts. And then, Orton gets the pin, rather.
Quote and quote.
Yeah, Orton gets the pin, rather. Another referee comes out, says, no. He had his foot on the rope. And every time they do that, it puts so many holes in everything else they do whenever somebody else wins a match without, legal means. And then
Now, if they were in
air
TNA,
quotes.
they would have had instant replay.
Yeah, they would have
for the blue screen.
Went to the I will say, for the first 2 or 3 seconds when the band came out, I'm like, whoa.
And that's how long it took was 2 or 3 seconds, because as we talked about earlier, we know what happens when a fan gets in the ring.
Exactly.
Well, you know what, though? Cousin Jack called me last night.
And do the voice. Do the voice.
He's like,
not on the radio.
He's like, who won? Who was this guy that ran in the ring? Was it a fan or was it a plant or what was it? He was freaking out.
But great effect, and that's how I said played with our minds. Those first couple things that happened with Randy Orton having all the deck stacked against him, you just knew, at least I did, John Cena was winning that match. There was no reason he couldn't win that match. Absolutely no reason, but the epic win by Randy Orton was having this nice little scheme of Ted DiBiase's brother, who was on air tonight on WWE television.
Yes.
Be the fan, do a run-in, cause enough confusion in the match.
So Brett DiBiase was kind of like the Steve Blackman.
Ooh.
He's kind of like the Sylvain Grenier.
I thought it was very well executed. A lot of people said this match was a mess. A lot of people said it was overbooked. A lot of people said it was confusing. It was just crap. I thought it was brilliant.
Nelson, let me ask you this question. Should they have not brought in Brent right away the next night so they could have sold the fact that maybe he was a real fan?
It's Brett, as in far.
Well, you couldn't.
Get out. Get out right now.
What was Brett Favre doing?
But you couldn't see his face last night. They did a very good job, as WWE normally does. Their production is amazing, and they're always where they need to be when they need to be. But I don't know what he said. That's the problem. I didn't get a chance to hear what he said today. I was on air, but I didn't hear it.
For the people that thought, well, this fan came in the ring, they had to make an announcement because he really didn't get beat up when you get in the ring. So, hey, that's not bad. I might get a fine, might get kicked out. Who cares?
But the people that do get in the ring and get beat up aren't shown on camera, so you don't know that either.
Nor do they show them being carted out.
I mean, wrestlers are told, beat the crap out of the guy.
It's a protection.
I mean, Dave, you promote. Fan gets in the ring at one of your events at Blizzard Brawl.
Kick him right in the head.
Everybody attacks. Get him out of there because they have just crapped on. They just spat on the canvas.
Yep.
Well, and you got to protect yourselves. Who knows
That's what it is.
have?
That's what I said. It's a protection thing. The guys are looking out for themselves. The referee will get in on it. The workers get in on it.
One time you jumped in the ring and they had no idea who you were, they just beat
Don't
the
look
hell out
at
of you.
Damien like that.
Around the horn, your thoughts on this matchup? John Cena versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton retains the WWE Championship.
I thought it was good. It wasn't great. I thought it was good. It was a good ending. Cena didn't need the belt, and my thoughts on Cena. So I kind of liked Orton continuing with the.
I'm John Cena. You can't see
my
me.
finisher thing.
I like my finisher.
But I liked the ending. I thought it was good, and it keeps the Orton thing going. That's what I like to see.
It's a nice way to keep building for next month's pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
Just an I Quit match.
Or at least the main event matches will be submission matches at WWE Breaking Point coming up next month on pay-per-view. Let's go to the phone lines. We've got some patient callers who have been on hold. I believe our next caller is line 1, Neil from Kansas City, Missouri or Kansas?
Kansas. I'm from the Kansas side.
All right. All right, Neil, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. What were your thoughts on WWE SummerSlam?
I thought overall, like I heard earlier, I mean, the card was very solid. I think they did very good. I mean, all besides the ECW match, of course. I thought no one really wants to see William Regal on a pay-per-view, let's be honest.
Or in a gum commercial.
Yeah.
William Regal is one of the most talented guys they have.
Yes.
And don't forget, he's a man.
He also exposed Goldberg.
Yeah, that's why he got fired from WCW.
Well, but the thing is, he's really good for a pushover guy, but not for a pay-per-view because he doesn't get buys. I mean, let's be honest. How many people have walked out of arena with a William Regal T-shirt? I mean, it never happens. The guy
doesn't have one.
Mick Foley is actually wearing William Regal's flannel that he wore back in the day in '98.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it
yeah.
totally is his. So I guess Mick Foley is a big Regal fan.
Yeah.
Hey, wow.
Okay, well, I mean, but how many people on the SummerSlam, take out DX, take out Cena, all the main players, and you go to the bid card guys, how many of them would sell more tickets or pay-per-views at Regal?
That's true. I mean, to be very honest, I mean, there's a lot of people that...
Regal's a great talent. Let's not forget Regal stays as GM. He's great on the mic.
He was great when he was...
Oh, yeah, great mic skills. Well, I mean, he's plunder. It's just like he's somebody that hasn't been around. I mean, they should have built the Christian Regal thing more than just like 2 weeks.
Well, I'd
rather watch that than him and Tommy Dreamer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very
I'd rather watch that than anybody in Tommy Dreamer.
Didn't Regal get suspended?
He was the second time failure. What did they call
Demons.
it? Yeah, demons. He also, I believe, what did he have? What was the disease that he had?
He had a heart problem.
No, he ended up losing a ton of weight, like close to 100 pounds.
He had a heart problem.
Was it a heart problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Damien, you're wrong. What was that again?
It was a heart problem.
Are you sure?
Well, amongst other things.
You know, when they say the fat guy in Meathead don't get along.
Neil from Kansas City, your favorite moment of the night or best match of the night from SummerSlam?
I will have to. I like the Randy Orton Cena match and the DX and Legacy matches, both because one, I loved how they just confused the hell out of everybody with the Randy Orton, winning, losing. Then the guy runs in the ring. I mean, to the normal people watching, they really don't understand that when someone runs in the ring, usually everybody and their brother-in-law jumps on the guy.
Yep.
But I mean, so for a second, everybody's confused. Oh, my God, did a fan really run in? And I really liked that point. And I just really liked how they pushed Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes, because those are two guys. I mean, Ted DiBiase, I'm going to definitely give it to him. I think he should be one of the bigger names in the next coming up year. I mean,
not bigger than Rob Terry.
I could hear you say that again.
No.
Well, Damian Nelson has said in 2010 his next big thing is Rob Terry from TNA.
I'm sure you saw the episode. I didn't say anything like it.
Yeah.
But Neil, valid points. That match, again, I think for the casual fan was certainly confusing, but I think that's what made it great, especially since it support the match between Cena and Orton. I think it just made Orton's character that much more hated.
Yeah, and that's what he needed. He needs to be the cerebral assassin of today.
The Viper.
He needs to be the Triple H that everybody hated. People just despised him back in the day during the whole McMahon Helmsley era. And that's exactly what they need to do with Orton. I mean, if he's not hated, if he's not a guy that's getting spit on when he goes into the arena, then he's not doing the job that he's placed there for.
Good point.
Well, Neil from KC Mo, thank you very much for that call.
Damien?
Yes.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say
Be careful.
Randy Orton beats John Cena next month in the I Quit match.
Hopefully. Orton has to be champion. We've had this discussion many times. Orton needs to be champion.
At least, and I know it's another 7 months, at least until WrestleMania.
The more time he spends as champion, the more people will hate him.
Because
hate him enough to spend money on him, and that's what's important.
You could still, flesh-eating disease is what Regal had, is what I was trying to think of. The more you put down Cena, it's okay. Cena is Superman. He can be brought up.
Flesh-eating disease?
He had a flesh-eating disease that put him on for a while.
And he lost his flesh?
It's internal. It's not like there's little things on the outside going, yum, 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 yum. That's not what they do.
All right. Don't get hot about it.
Cena, you can put down Cena over and over and over. You can have Randy go over Cena over and over and over. As soon as they put Cena over somebody else once, Cena's back to being Superman.
Well, you can still. I mean, Cena doesn't need to be the champion. Orton, it's only going to help Orton by being the champion, and it's only going to help WWE by having this prick as the champion.
And it will mean more when a Randy Orton, who has held the belt for almost a year, loses at WrestleMania.
Right.
Speaking of Randy Orton, Randy Orton had a lot to say about what Ken Anderson had to say on this program a couple of weeks ago, and I quote this from a source claiming to be Randy Orton, and appears as if it may be him, says, and I quote, reference Ken Anderson, he is in denial. He thinks you have to be able to do a moonsault and know how to work. And as far as dropping me on my head, he did. He never got to see all 4 camera angles of him doing it. I did. Plus, the left side of my neck down to my trap was sore all week in
Mexico.
I did tell Ken that he shouldn't be dropping me on my head with such a simple, basic move. He never said sorry and even called me a liar after the match. I remember looking at him in disbelief, and yes, I did tell management I did not want to work with him after that. Who wouldn't? That's my side.
Interesting.
Well,
and of course,
Randy Orton is more than welcome.
Randy Orton's publicists have not been returned either.
Of course. Randy Orton is more than welcome to join this program. And
what's the phone number, Damien, if Randy's listening right now?
He'd get a special number. There is another thing. Orton goes on to say, never did I get my neck taped, as he claims it was in that interview. Also, the whole bear hug story does have some truth to it. Early in the day that morning in Los Angeles, he came up behind me and grabbed me around my chest and picked me up off the floor. I don't know anyone who enjoys being tackled from behind and picked up off the floor.
Damien does.
When he let go and I realized that it was Ken, I was like, oh, okay, you're back. Cool. My reaction of his big return was watered down, and I found it very funny reading in his interview that he felt like I had an agenda or almost like I wanted him gone. Now, not until I was given a belly-to-back suplex onto the back of my head did I have any negative feelings with Mr. Anderson. I honestly hope, for his wife's sake, that he can find something else he's marginally good at and earn a living. I know he wants to entertain, so good luck, Ken. You're going to need it.
Wow.
This could be Rosie O'Donnell, Donald Trump again.
That was kind of a pompous reply. Does pompous?
But you know what though?
Does pompous feel right? Does that feel like the right word?
Arrogant.
Randy's side of the story. I mean, he addressed all the controversial things that Ken said in that interview. You got to respect him for at least doing that. His version is going to be his version. Ken's is Ken's. Now the fans out there
have. I wonder how much that was eating at him.
It took him 3 weeks to respond publicly.
That we know that is
privately. It happened a little quicker than that.
Yeah. About 48 hours after that interview.
Well, I mean, seriously, if he obviously our airways are open for him. You know, if he wants to,
it's an open invite.
Why not?
Well, he'll never come on because Vince would never let him. First of all,
there'd be some serious heat for him.
I mean,
WWE has a standing policy. WWE has a standing policy that they will not let their talent appear on wrestling shows. I've spoken to their publicist.
What if we were a sports entertainment show?
I tried that.
We're on a sports radio show.
I tried that. But anyways, as you said, Frank, yeah. I mean, the door's open. The door's open for anybody to come and appear on this program, and then we'll get accused of kissing their butt, too.
Even the TNA office?
Yes.
That's coming.
Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to line 2, Gianni from Waukesha. All right, line 2 has dropped off. Let's go to New York City. We've got a caller on line 3 from New York City. You're live.
What up, guys?
Hi there. Who's this?
I just want to say it's like first time on the radio. I want to say I always listen to you guys, and it's very enjoyable to listen to you guys and hear different opinions.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. And now one of the most important opinions, at least for the next few minutes, yours on WWE Summerslam 2009. Best match, worst match?
Well, I mean, my favorite match on SummerSlam, the opener was pretty good, but that TLC that had me marking out like crazy.
That seems to be the winner of the evening.
Winner, chicken dinner.
And the worst match, I have to say, is not the ECW title match.
Okay.
Kane Khali?
It is Kane Khali. Because at least the ECW title match, you can go somewhere with it. Kane and Khali, where are you going to go with it?
Yeah.
Bring in his sister?
You know what, though? But when was the last time you had two giants have a good match? I mean, Andre Studd never had good matches.
That was a different time, though.
You know?
That was a different time.
Bet you the next pay-per-view, they're going to have a 2-on-1 handicap match. Khali and his quote-unquote brother versus Kane.
His brother who's a writer.
Yeah, Funyun Singh.
Rajan.
Whatever.
No, this Ron John Sin is like everything right now.
Ron John Sin.
Hell, he should be outfitted by Sean John Singh.
WWE SummerSlam overall, if you had to give it a grade, actually, was it worth $40?
I mean, compared to other SummerSlam, yeah, it was, because I say it beat out the past maybe 2 SummerSlams. And, yeah, I think it's worth $40. You got a good opener in Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler. And then you close it out with a fantastic main event with Jeff Hardy and CM Punk. And in between, you got 2 better, like, tag team matches than WWE usually has in their year. and you have a bizarre WWE Championship match, but it's different, so there's your entertainment. So I say, yeah, it's worth $40.
Well, thank you very much for that call from New York City. A lot of you are saying, and a lot of you are pointing out that you're trying to get in on the phone lines. Well, the phone lines have been full all night. Remember, you can send us your questions via the Chatmosphere and also on Twitter. You can tweet us your questions, and we'll go ahead and address those on the show. Speaking of which, we've got a user by the name of Kayfabe23 Brand who says, have you heard anything about Mr. Anderson going to TNA or what?
You know what? TNA is going to be in Green Bay end of October.
The Rush Center, I believe. Am I right?
That could be interesting. That's, of course,
Green Bay,
after
Wisconsin.
Well, we do know that that option is not there for Ken until the middle of next month to participate
September
in
8th or 9th.
either of those organizations. So,
which is only a couple weeks away. We're on the 24th right now. So,
yep. Let's go now to Eric from Fairfax, Virginia. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Eric.
I have two questions for you guys, actually. First of all, I was wondering if you're excited for the second time ever Orton versus Cena match coming up.
I know, because I was so excited about the first one that I haven't gotten everything I wanted from it, so I can't wait to see those two go one-on-one for the second time.
I mean, it's no Braden Walker versus Rob Terry or anything.
Right,
It's a
exactly.
pretty good match.
But, exactly.
And more importantly, I'm wondering what it's like to work with the male Adonis that is Frank Costantino.
Oh, my God. Well, here's the thing.
Frank is over.
Here's the thing. I got to keep Frank, and you'll find this out
Frank
next
gets
week
a pop.
when we take it live. But here's the thing. I got to keep Frank on the other side of the table for me because I have a man crush on him. It's hard.
You have a wrestling question?
I mean, I think every man, woman, child, and meathead has a crush on him.
Exactly. I want to see his cannoli.
Keep drinking.
Oh, you said what?
That ain't right.
That ain't right. Eric from Fairfax, Virginia, thank you very much for that call.
2 for Virginia tonight. We're over in Virginia.
The TLC match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Jeff Hardy in what is believed to be his last match in WWE, going up against, at least televised pay-per-view match in WWE, going up against CM Punk. CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, TLC, tables, ladders, chairs, and The Undertaker. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this contest?
I loved it. And what was great was how Jeff Hardy, again, most likely gone, puts forth an effort that was awesome. And what it does is it takes other wrestlers that may be on the way out or any stipulation where they may be gone. That's a blueprint. If you're going to leave a company, if you're going to leave a company, just give it all you got, because you never know when you might get that call back. Because those are things that Vince McMahon will remember. Think about awesome match. And the pop at the end with The Undertaker was through the roof.
Think about RVD, the way he left the company, too. He just showed up on the 15th anniversary, beat up Santino, and left. RVD is welcome back in the company when he wants.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great match.
But what a way to quickly get rid of Jeff Hardy. I mean, yeah, he'll be on SmackDown.
He got buried.
But, yeah, literally, by The Undertaker. I mean, what a way to make the fans forget about him quick.
Oh, yeah, they have to.
Bring him back to Undertaker.
I think it'll take a couple of weeks for them to forget about him. They'll be like, wait a minute. Wait, where's Jeff Hardy?
It's also sending home the fans happy, too.
But, yeah, it's that. And plus, I'm sure the last thing they would not want to end the pay-per-view is a bunch of fans saying, we'll miss you, Jeff, or, those kind of chants going.
Him spelling WCW with his hands.
Right.
Destroying a monitor at ringside in the broadcast table.
Hey.
Or they don't want another Kurt Angle situation at the same time. Now, there has absolutely been no talk of Jeff Hardy being interested in going to TNA.
Or dating Raka Khan.
He did. However, I don't think he likes Morris Day in the time. But that risk is there. And I think WWE has learned from those mistakes. They get burned every time they do good for a talent, basically, upon their departure. But that match I thought was good. Again, as I said earlier, it wasn't one of the best TLC matches I've ever seen. Actually, I expected some more high spots than we actually saw from it, but there was some good innovation and good stuff in the matchup.
But if you're Jeff Hardy, how many high spots do you want to do on your way
He's
out?
done it all.
And that's kind of what I brought up in the beginning. I mean, it's your 2 feet out the door already. He's not going to do and give his life for that last match.
He did enough. He did enough, I thought.
I think he kind of went through the motion.
CM Punk look strong and put him over.
Exactly. Yep. Which is the way he had to leave the company.
Mm-hmm.
Let's clear the lines here. Finish talking about WWE Summerslam 2009. Our next caller is from New York. His name is Elliot. Elliot, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Elliot.
What's up, Elliot?
Saw SummerSlam. You don't see that as soon as the Elliot.
Trying to find your words there? Or?
No, like, honestly, okay.
Did you pay for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it worth it?
I didn't have expectations, though.
Okay.
Expectation is the
at the
first
end
step
of the
to
night,
failure.
At the end of the night, I felt differently than I did last week when I saw Hard Justice.
Yeah, and we're sorry you had to see Hard Justice. Just
No,
kidding. Hard Justice.
You know what, though?
That's
Think about
pretty
it. SummerSlam and Hard Justice kind of both start out the same way.
Hot
Great
match.
opening match.
Yep.
Yeah, and I give it to everyone that performed on that show except Greek Khali Kane. That was boring. But I give it to I even give it to them. I give it to everyone. Everyone played their part and did what needed to be done to make a good show. I really enjoyed that. I got more than I thought. I got more than I thought from DX thing. I didn't expect nothing. I was like, oh. And I'm a DX fan. And I'm talking about like Shawn Michaels, Triple H, DX from back.
So
in the
you
day.
pay for that every time they rebirth themselves.
No.
Speaking of pay for it, here's the distinct advantage WWE has right now, and I put their production of their pay-per-view events up against almost anything
It's
out
top
there.
notch.
How much did they pay for
The DX entrance.
Firstly, that whole extravagant set that they had, and then the conversion that they had to do with D-Generation X coming down. I mean, they had a machine gun.
They rented a damn
They had
tank.
people shooting guns. They had a tank. They had pyro in the tank. It was just absolutely epic, and that is right there where WWE has every bit of an advantage over any other, almost most other entertainment companies out there right now.
And I wanted to ask the question, like, I want to ask this. TNA goes to Europe and England, and they sell at these shows, these big mega arenas in London.
Yeah.
Why don't they make it a pay-per-view?
Because that means they got to carry all the cameras.
Well, no, that's a great question, though. I mean, I don't even think WWE brings their own stuff when they do UK TV.
You think they rent from the locals?
Pretty sure they do. Notice how the set's always different.
They don't have to do it every time they go to UK because it loses the special of it. Every once in a while they go to UK, take some cameras over there.
You know what? That's a great point. They could do a whole
great
run.
Question for Damian Nelson to
ask
a
next
TNA
week.
office member.
I think so if he gets that in.
But here's what the challenge they don't have to worry about is. Granted, doing the pay-per-view overseas has been a detriment for WWE because of the time delay. They've got buys to worry about here in the States. I'm not sure TNA has as many buys to worry about here in the States because
it won't be live, but it will give some special feel like live from UK we're presenting
live from Manchester.
They give whatever pay-per-view. And you know what? I was playing the TNA game the other day, and half of the arenas they created for the game look better than half of the sets they put together in real life. So I'm like, what the hell is that about? And I just want to say this about Bryan Danielson signing WWE. Despite how happy I am, he's kind of getting some type of break. I don't think they're going to market him right.
You're absolutely right, and we're about to get into that in just a moment. But
not to take no talent away from he's
got talent.
He's the last of the Mohicans in technical wrestling. He is the last of the best in technical wrestling.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Well, and let's not put the cart before the horse because he had a developmental deal with WWE before, and WWE cut him loose.
Yeah, and he's nothing against Daniels. He can't talk worth crap on the mic. I'm sorry, he bores the hell out of me. And, unless they do some type of Iceman thing,
Malenko-ish?
Even have him come out with Dean. Why don't they let him come out with Dean? I'm creating a new type of technical, I'm teaching my technical skills to this guy, and then bring him in like that.
I'm going to show him all 1,000
Nobody
moves.
cares about Dean Malenko.
Unfortunately.
I care. Well, the
casual fan does not.
The casual fan doesn't care, but
I only cared about move number 923.
And he could be
armbar.
What was Dean's name? The man of what? How many?
1,000 holes. 1,000. Just like Jericho was a man of 1,004.
And now they can call Danielson the man 2,000 holes because he's with Dean.
As interesting as it sounds, I wish the casual fan would buy that. They're not going to.
They could put him on ECW and build him up.
But apparently ECW doesn't mean anything because at the pay-per-view they have a
great
6-second
technical wrestler was Nick Dinsmore.
WrestleMania.
And they made him into Eugene.
Great main event. He is the last of the technical. You will never see another great technical wrestler in
Nick
WWE,
Dinsmore
let alone wrestling.
Nick Dinsmore was that good, and they made him into Eugene.
Well, okay,
Elliot from New York, thank you very much for that call.
Wrestling work
in today's wrestling age? Absolutely not.
It depends. It's got to be quick. It's got to be quick.
It took technical wrestling ability for Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler to put on such a great match last night. I think there is still a place for it.
What's the definition of technical?
Right.
What's the definition of technical wrestling?
Chain link.
Good wrestling.
Chain link style.
Dean Malenko is a technical wrestler.
Well, technically.
You know, speaking of technically, the only match on SummerSlam that had any real long build-up was Kane and Khali, if you think about it.
No, it's Ziggler Mysterio.
Okay, but I'm saying, but they really worked the storyline with Kane and Khali for the past few weeks.
When Kane returned, was it at the last pay-per-view or SmackDown right after the pay-per-view? Was.
Yeah.
Let's continue on the phones.
Why don't you like Kane?
Yeah, why are you a Kane hater? You hate Kane and Undertaker.
Marcus from Washington, D.C. on line 1. Marcus, you're live.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Marcus?
Nothing much, chilling in the Chatmosphere.
Chatosphere.
Chatosphere.
Are you sexy, Frank?
Frank is sexy.
Just do this for me. You'll never find.
Right.
Hey,
I get that
I'm
all.
gay. Marcus, what do you got, man?
I'm Mr. 469. That's who
okay.
I am.
I'm 4'2", but anyways, what do you got?
Married Francine.
SummerSlam was cool. I enjoyed Ray and Dolph Ziggler. That was my favorite match.
All right. Your least favorite match of the night?
Least favorite match? My most forgettable was the ECW. Least favorite was probably Khali and Kane. That was slow. So.
Yeah. It's hard to have two giants have a good match. I can't think of the last time there was a good match with two giants. Giant Gonzalez, Undertaker, terrible.
Punjabi prison match. I was thinking about
terrible.
that.
Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call, by the way. That was.
I saw that live. I don't even remember the match.
No. We were there to the point where I went in the hallway and watched Packers Bears.
No, that's because you were doing photo ops with your fans.
No. I was.
Nobody asked him for pictures. It's me. I'm the star. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Next week, you can see us dancing to this song live here in the studio.
No.
Because we're going to do it live! That's Winter King!
We're going to put some of those videos up in the...
we need a disco
What
ball
did he become?
right
Didn't he change his gimmick and become Borat or something like that? Berlin.
Borash.
Yeah. He was JB in the back.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540. ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Next week, Damien, we're
live August 21st, 2009, talking about WWE Summerslam. And the next topic that really needs to be discussed is Bryan Danielson going over to WWE, at least has a tentative agreement with WWE. One of ROH's top stars. We had Nigel McGuinness on this program a couple of months ago. He talked greatly about Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, a great worker, a good athlete.
Trained by Shawn Michaels.
Gentlemen, real quick.
So
was Spanky, or Spanky, what was his name? Brian, he's gone. Brian, not working there anymore. Around quickly, your thoughts on Danielson and WWE, pass or fail?
Buried.
Frank?
Potential. I'm not going to bury him yet.
Does the P stand
for
for
Shawn
potential?
Michaels student. He's going to do great.
Buried.
All right.
Chris Hammers in the Chatmosphere said, speaking of random WCW talent, where's Evan Courageous? Isn't he performing in videos?
Yeah, Skinamax.
I have no clue.
Along with his other 3-count members.
Was Buff Bagwell in
Shane
3-count?
Helms was in there.
Sugar Shane. Berta Breaker.
Alex Wright or Eric Watts?
Give me Alex Wright.
Wow. Poor Eric
Isn't
Watts.
there a
Poor Eric Watts.
3 minutes and we're out of here.
VI3.
Not
Frank.
me. No, you guys go.
It's his segment.
Each week
He
we
can't
pick
even do it.
the top singles competitor, top tag competitor, and top female competitor in the professional wrestling business, and we always start with everybody but me. So we'll start this week with the man they call me.
I will start off with my singles competitor. I'm going to go with AJ Styles, even though he didn't compete.
He cried.
I believed every bit of tear he had in the ring. Okay? My tag team will go out to the team of Cody Deaner and ODB. They're a team. They're co-women's champions.
Seems like somebody else was at catering last week.
No. And my female is Mickie James I just watched a video of her on Jenny Jones. Wow, that's sexy trailer trash if I've ever seen.
I went to a Jenny Jones taping once. Sorry. They were doing a makeover. We were there for 8 hours. To that point about AJ Styles and Sting. To that point about AJ Styles and Sting, the opportunity, I am well aware of what time we are. Don't sit there and try to tell. But this is between me and Dragon. We've got this show under control. Frank, Dave, Sting, AJ Styles, Sting losing at Bound for Glory to AJ Styles. We talked about it over the last few weeks. That is what elevates AJ.
Agreed.
Yes.
Frank,
yes,
your
agree.
VI3. Thank you, Dragon.
I'll go with Sting.
Oh, wow.
I'll go with DX and Mickey James. Go.
Sting didn't
Nobody
even
cares
dye
about
his
my
chin hair.
Nobody cares about my VI3.
People do care about it.
I'll go with the tag team of Jericho, the singles of Randy Orton, and the lady will have to be Tracy Brooks.
I thought you were going to go Gail Kim there.
No, Tracy Brooks won.
The definitive VI3 that what all of you tuned in to listen to tonight. Top spot singles competitor for me is Dolph Ziggler. Tag team spot goes to Jericho, just like Dave Hero. And the female spot goes to Sarita from TNA. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Tomorrow we've got a brand new Q&A episode at PWRshow.com from PWR TV. We'll be on Time Warner Cable this Friday night again with a brand new episode. And also check out PWR Express each and every day on PWRshow.com. Video updates. And, of course, forgot what I was going to plug there.
Fantasy pay-per-view.
Those are available on the website as well. And that is all. Next week, rather. Next week, we're going to be live on Ustream right here from this studio. And that's going to be nothing but problems, I'm sure. For the man they call Meathead, Dave Hero, and the Cause, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week right here again on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.